In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect resume to get a part-time job in Canada. Coming right up. What's going on, everyone? This has been a long requested video. Finally, I'm going to show you how to make a resume when you're applying for a part-time job. Watch this video. You're going to get some tips about what to include, what not to include, and really the strategy that you should use when making your resume, okay? So I want to give you a little bit of information before we dive into it. We're going to look at some resume examples. We're going to look at an actual job and how you would apply to it. I just want to share my perspective before I get into it. My job, what I do for a living, is I find the right candidates for employers looking to hire. So people need employees. I try to find the best possible candidate I can and I present it to my clients. While doing that, I've had to go through tons and tons and tons of resumes, so I've gotten a pretty good idea of what kind of resumes tend to make the cut. A couple of things you should keep in mind as we go along. Number one, every single job needs a different resume. Unless it's a very closely related resume, every single job you apply to, you have to have a specifically tailored resume for that job to give you the best possible results, and I'll show you why in just a minute. And number two, you don't need a fully polished, decked out resume to get any kind of job. So for example, there's some jobs that just want to make sure, hey, can this person do XYZ task? If you can, good, come on right up, you got the job. You don't need to have a fancy resume, you don't need to have every little line polished. So depending on the job, a lot of the stuff that I'm showing you might not even be necessary, but it's always a good practice to have. Let's hop right into the computer. For the sake of this example, we're going to pretend like we're applying for a part-time cast member at Cineplex. That's the cinema here in Vancouver. I personally worked as a cast member in Kamloops. I worked in this company for about a year, so I know a little bit about what the actual job entails, and can also tell you about how to get the job because I got it myself. It tells you a little bit about the company, what the company is like, but really where you want to focus your attention is here and here. God damn it. Your qualifications, okay? So you want to see this is what you'll be doing on a daily basis. This is what your hours are going to look like. This is what the position entails. So you can clearly see it says part-time position. If you're a student and you're looking for something part-time, that's the job for you. One thing you got to realize about a lot of these part-time jobs is that their turnover is very high, meaning a lot of people join, a lot of people leave, a lot of people join again, a lot of people leave again. So constantly they're going in and out of people. A lot of people work for like 3 months, 4 months, then they quit and they're hiring again. So throughout the year, they'll have a couple of batches where they hire people, someone leaves, they hire more people. So they're not super picky about the people they're looking for, except of course the primary things they need that we'll get into now. Qualifications. Now this is a job that doesn't really require a lot of qualification, but if you have a little bit of customer service experience, great. What does it require? Okay, so you have to be team-oriented, energetic, friendly, and outgoing. Makes sense, because if you're dealing with the public, you have to be lively, you have to be energetic. You enjoy working in a fast-paced environment, especially if you're in a cinema and people are lined up and you're selling snacks. You're going to have to be working in a fast-paced environment. You're available to work late on weekends and some late weeknights. And the reason they say that is because most people, they're like, oh, I'll work in the day, I don't want to work at night. So they try to put that out there. So if you do find that you can work at night and on the weekends, you might get somewhat of a preference. They just want to make sure they hire you can do those shifts. Superior communication skills, successful candidates will enjoy free movies. So essentially that's the benefit you get with that, okay? So fair enough. Now this is how I want to help you break down the actual ad. Look at the job description, read it, and decide, is this something I can do every single day? If it is, sure, go ahead. Of course, it's a part-time job. It's not something you want to make an entire career of. It is interesting, so you apply, you need the money, I get it. But hey, picture yourself, can I do this every single day? Can? Great, okay? So qualifications, we've gone through them just now. Let's have a quick look at how we make our resume, okay? So I'm going to show you our sample resume. Someone has sent me this resume, and I just edited the name, edited the address, everything out so that you can see. This is what we're working with here, okay? Our candidate here who's applying for this job, his name is Mr. Dude. He's from 999 Best Place on Earth. I want a job at iwantajob.com, okay? So I'm going to show you a little bit about how this resume would do in a job like Cineplex. Okay, now we've got the job and the resume side by side, and I'll help you understand a lot easier this way. Okay, so when you look at this resume here, the first thing you'll see is objective to contribute my skills to ABC job. That's great. What I see a lot on resumes is a big paragraph or maybe 5-6 lines. I am an intellectual individual who is looking to find their life passion by selling popcorn to the public. I mean, that's great, but I don't care. I just want to find someone who can work my job. I don't care about your whole life story. So in your objective, in your career objective, one line: to obtain the position of XYZ. So this one right here, it'll do the job. You can write to contribute my skills to get the position of cast member at Cineplex. Okay, of course you'll work the grammar a little bit better, but that's pretty much all you want in your objective section. Now this is the main part here, skills highlight. This, by the way, is not the resume you should have. This is me critiquing this resume and showing you what to improve. Okay, so instead of skills highlights, you can either write highlights or summary of qualifications. I like this one a lot because it just shows them, hey, this, these are my important ticking points. When someone is going through resumes, okay, now you have to understand, when it's a position like this that doesn't really require a lot of work experience and everyone's applying to it, I don't have time to go through 300 resumes, read every single thing, go through 2 or 3 pages per resume to see if I want to hire the person. It's going to take me a maximum of maybe 10 seconds. Okay, most likely 5 seconds. I'm gonna look it up, I'm gonna glance, do I like what I see in the first page? If I don't like it, move on to the next one. So you want to make sure the first blip on your resume is directly related to the job, and I'll tell you how. Now when you see this resume, you see proven effective communication, resourceful customer, blah blah blah, efficiently, blah blah blah, abilities of multitasking. Okay, one thing you have to keep in mind, a lot of the things you see here, effective communication, effective coordination, ability to multitask, everyone's gonna have that on their resume. Okay, literally everyone. When I'm going through 300 resumes, or the hiring manager is going through 300 resumes, they're gonna see this on every single person's resume. You're not gonna stand out. Okay, so one thing you want to do is, when you compare your summary of qualifications to the qualifications, these two should match. Okay, so for example, if it says you are team oriented, energetic, and friendly, yes, you need to have that in here, but you also need to show how. So for example, if we go here and we write the exact word, okay, team oriented and energetic, worked at XYZ company as a customer service representative for 3 years. Okay, now not only are you showing them that you did the exact thing that they're looking for an energetic and friendly and outgoing person, that's the exact thing you did, but you're also giving them proof right there in that line of how you had that experience. They don't have to search for your resume, they don't have to call you to ask, it's right there. Okay, so essentially what you want to do is you want to take the summary, the qualifications in here, and you want to make sure every single bullet point, every single one of them addresses each point. So your second point is going to be about how you enjoy working in a fast-paced environment. Your third point is going to be about how you are available, if you're available. If you're not, don't lie about it. But if you're available, write what your schedule is like, because a lot of these people who are hiring part-timers, they're looking for flexible schedules. Mention that there. Okay, these are the things that you need to talk about right at the start of your resume. Okay, when the person opens up your resume and they see, okay, this person is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 things I'm looking for, and these are the first 5 things he's capable of, and he has them on the top of his resume. That means he's ready for the job. I'm gonna give this guy a call. Look at all the qualifications they require. Within the first 5 points, address every single one of them, or as many as them you can. Never lie in your resume. It will come out eventually, but find experiences, find volunteer work, find things you do in your hobbies that relate to what they're looking for. Okay, when you look at employment history here, I'm just gonna polish this up a little bit. Of course, I've made up the companies here. There's no company called Cookie Monster. Let's just take Mars. Okay, so a lot of the experience this person has is on Mars. Unfortunately, this position is in is on Earth, right? I need to know this person can work on Earth, can work on Earth's climate, can work with Earth's gravity and all of that. So this is gonna get me a little bit concerned. I'll be like, oh, okay, well, he's worked in Mars, but I don't know how translatable that experience is. So if you had, say, even 1 year of experience working on Earth, let's just say, for example, okay, and you had 6 years of experience here and 3 years of experience here, even though you have more experience, here working abroad, just because I can see that you've worked where I'm hiring, it gives me some comfort that, okay, this person will blend in just fine. He'll do just okay because he's worked for a year in this environment, as opposed to, say, if we went back to Mars, and you had 4 years of experience in Mars and 2 years, like 8 years of experience, I still think you can only work on Mars. I don't really know if you can work on Earth, you know? So similarly, if you have international experience, you worked in different countries, some places might think of that as, well, I don't know if that's going to relate to our culture. How is the language? How is this person going to navigate our culture? So it's always really good to have some sort of local experience, and it doesn't have to be work experience. You can even mention your volunteer experience. So it doesn't always have to be employment history. It can also be relevant experience. So even if you haven't worked somewhere, you can always write down University of blah biddy blah, worked as a volunteer. Okay, and the most important part is describe what you did. That's how they know. They're not gonna know just based on the role. So for example, just ignore all the technicalities here. You can write, help 300 students adjust to university life, or something of that sort. Tell them how you were able to meet, again, the qualifications through your experience. So essentially what you're doing in your relevant experiences, you're just expanding on the summary of your qualifications. Of course, when you're here, it says loyalty to the company's policies. You're going to give an example of that. If it's here, volunteer, help students, you're going to give an example of that here as well. So with every single relevant experience you note down, give some experience that directly relates to those qualifications, and you're going to do that for all of them. If you just have the one line here, even if it's directly related, like you're a cashier at McDonald's, very relatable, it doesn't really tell me anything about you. It doesn't tell me what you did on a daily basis. It doesn't tell me what you did beyond your duties. So tell me not only what you did on the duty, but how you went beyond to serve in that role. That's what's really going to make you stand out, okay? One last thing to note is references. You don't really need to put your references on the resume. If we like your resume and we contact you and we like what we see, we call you in for an interview, the interview goes great, we'll just ask you to provide references then, because we're not going to contact references for every single person who applies. It's just too much work, and it saves you all this space on your resume to add other things like your hobbies or whatever, okay? Now, we've had a look at the resume, we've had a look at what to do, we've had a look at what to tackle to really get it, okay? Every single job you apply to, okay, this is just for Cineplex, okay? If you apply to a different job that have different qualifications, all of your summary of qualifications will be different. They're not going to be the same one as the last job, so you can't have one resume and throw it everywhere, okay? What's going to happen is you're going to have a mediocre resume and you apply to a lot of places, and none of those places will see your resume as particularly standing out. As opposed to if you took in the extra effort, you really looked at what they're looking for, you customized your resume accordingly, and you made your resume, then you have a really good shot at every single place you apply to, okay? If you don't get called for interview, chances are they're already hired for the position. They had too many resumes and they just didn't get to yours. It doesn't mean your resume isn't good. It just might mean it's bad timing. Or B, for some reason it wasn't obvious enough to the hiring manager that you were qualified. So you want to make it as simple as possible for the hiring managers to understand. The moment they look at your resume, the moment they read the first paragraph, they're like, okay, team oriented, he's got communication skills because he's done XYZ, he's got ability to communicate with people very fluently because he's been blah 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 for XYZ years. Immediately leave absolutely nothing to chance, put it right in front of them, polish it up, and send it over. Okay, so this should be your strategy going in. Find the qualifications, tailor make your resume to suit those qualifications, and then apply. Take the extra time. It's going to save you so much work rather than just applying everywhere. Okay, I'm going to have a lot more videos on resumes, a lot more videos on how to apply for full-time jobs as well. Hey, let me know, did you enjoy this tutorial? Did you enjoy me talking about resumes, giving you a little bit of tips, a little bit of advice? If you did, please make sure to like the video, subscribe down below, let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I will see you in the next one. Take care.